everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism, so if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out, and definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. So in today's video, I have Joe here with me again. He comes and joins me every Monday, and we discuss all types of topics related to narcissism from both a male and a female perspective. So Joe, welcome to the channel.
Hey, thanks for having me, Shannon. It's a pleasure to be here. So I was thinking maybe for a topic of discussion, and you brought to my attention, you reminded me of the story of when I came out to visit you, and it was about the snake. I think Masada was her name, the one I was holding that bit you and caused more trauma in my life. I'm kidding, honey. I wanted to talk about, it reminded me of the narcissist, how truly what started to kind of speed up the recovery process for me, other than my self-work, was looking at the narcissist for truly what they are. They're a different species. They're so unlike the human species that it's actually an understatement. The word narcissist personality disorder is an understatement. Like the annihilation, the devastation of what they do. And, you know, when you're talking about the snake and how different they are than us and how they act, share that story with us, Cher, when I came out to see you.
Yeah, so Joe came out to see me, and some of you might know that I breed snakes as a little side business. So I have a lot of snakes in my house. I have more than a dozen snakes. So Joe came over, and it was the first time I met him, actually. Not that day, but that weekend. And so he came over, and he was visiting me, and I was showing him my animals. I have a lot of animals. I have almost like a little mini zoo at my house. So I was showing him the snakes. And so he was holding Masada, and Masada is a Mexican black king snake. She's about 4 feet long, and so she's not really that big, but she's big enough to be a little intimidating if you're not familiar with snakes. So Joe was holding her, and everything was going great. He had asked me specifically if she was going to bite him, and I told him no, and she didn't, so I kept my end of the bargain up. But when I took her from him, she bit me. Now, a snake will only bite you for one of two reasons. They'll either bite you in defense or if they're hungry. So in Masada's case, she bit me because she was hungry. She like, the thing about snakes is they're actually not that smart. So if a snake bites you for defense, they will bite you and immediately let go. If they're biting you because they think they have a food source, they don't let go. So she had me on the thumb, and she had me pretty good. So I couldn't get her off. It's very difficult to get a snake off because you don't want to hurt the snake. So I couldn't get her off. So because I'm familiar with snakes, I know what to do. So Joe and I told him we have to put rubbing alcohol in her mouth, and when she tastes that, she'll let go. She's not going to like it. But Joe isn't familiar with doing this with snakes. And my kids will do this with me. And I haven't actually been bitten that many times, only 5 or 6 times the entire time I've had snakes. So Joe came downstairs with me. And how much rubbing alcohol do you think you put in her mouth, honey?
I think a little bit too much, where she might have been intoxicated by the time you put her back in her cage.
He put a lot of rubbing alcohol down her mouth. But you know what? It was okay. She was okay. She wasn't hurt at all. No snakes were harmed in the making of this video. So we put her back in her cage, and she was fine, right? The rubbing alcohol worked. It got her off, and she was put away, and there was no further problems from her. I knew what to do because I know how to handle snakes. I didn't treat her like I would with my dog, say. If my dog ate something or was eating something, had something in his mouth he's not supposed to have, if I tell him to drop it, he'll drop it. He understands how to do that. My snake isn't like that. So first of all, snakes don't have ears. But regardless, if I tell my snake, let go, Masada, let go, Masada, she's not going to let go. That's not what snakes do. I needed to treat her the way I would treat a snake, what worked for a snake. Just like if my dog did something, I would treat him the way I need to treat a dog. He would react to it that way. Or my chickens, or my hamster, or my children, you have to treat each species, as it were, what works for them. Likewise with a narcissist. If you are with a narcissist and you treat a narcissist as though they're human, you're not going to get the same reaction out of them as if you treat them the way that they really are. So Joe, why don't you tell us how they really are? Who is a narcissist really, or What is a narcissist?
Yeah, well, this is the best way I can explain it is a narcissist is a species unto itself. The reason why it made me think about all this is with the snake, not to compare them with snakes, that would give the snakes a bad name. I was reading in a couple articles a few years back on the difference in brain functionality between a normal human being and a narcissist, or somebody with NPD, where, and I'm no scientist, but they talked about, I guess, we all have a reptilian brain that eventually develops through evolution into a mammalian brain from mammal, and how the narcissist pretty much solely functions on the reptilian brain, whereas fight or flight, survival, reaction, not response, prey. And it just made me think about it, the problem I had was it's difficult. Like the word narcissist personality disorder doesn't give it justice. You think of somebody that has depression or this or that is so vastly different. I treated her like a human being, forgave, forgot, tried to understand, comprehend, sympathize, empathize. Like we're just so vastly different from us. It wasn't until I began to understand NPD, and even that, Shan, like it's an identity disorder. There's no personality that's fully developed. It's a self-defense mechanism. These are all things used to describe a human being that's severely damaged and hardwired differently. But I had to start looking at her like an object, the way that she looked at me, like a totally different species. Because if I didn't, then I was going to be angry for the rest of my life. If I didn't, I might have felt sorry for her because she was going downhill after I took away my supply from her and went no contact. And it just helped me recover when I looked at it with a different perspective, how truly and vastly different they are. They're a different species. Dr. Robert Hare, who was one of the fundamental scientists renowned for his work in NPD, calls him intra-species predator. I don't know, how do you look at him now?
I look at them exactly the same way. I think what you've said is dead on. I mean, really, if you treat a narcissist, if you give them human qualities, you're going to get burned every single time. That's the thing with a narcissist. It's almost like, when my children were little, I would tell them, don't go near the stove, mommy's using the stove. Because I knew if they put their hands, their little hands on the hot stove, they're going to get burned. It can't be any other way. If you're with a narcissist, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, it can't be any other way than that they're going to hurt you every single time. And it isn't just you, and that's bad enough, but it's your children, it's everybody connected to them. They are like a virus, an infection, and they just spread through your family and they wipe everybody out. I mean, it's that bad. Joe, you always say life or death. Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, it is. It truly is. It's life or death for the individuals that are in any way, shape, or form contact, especially an intimate relationship. It's not a snake bite to the thumb. Like you said, it's like the Black Plague. So, I mean, if you really truly could grasp, even for a hot minute, like a moment of clarity, enough to grasp this concept, listen to the thousands of survivors that still have a voice, that talk about their experience with this abuse. Listen to people saying, get out, stay out, get the hell away, no contact, cut off all ties, cut off ties with anybody that has anything to do with them, any association, go to a different state. Listen to one of the defining traits of a narcissist. Meditate on this for 2 minutes. Lack of empathy. Imagine something, a human, quote unquote, that had no empathy. Just give it a few minutes to really, truly, could you even grasp that concept, Sharon?
No.
Like
that
a human being, like supposed to be human, that has no empathy. Think of empathy. Think of no personality. Like what the hell is it?
I don't even know how you'd relate to anybody else if you didn't have any empathy on any level. I mean, truly. I mean, how is that possible? That's how you relate to other people, by being able to empathize with them on some level. Like if you can't empathize with somebody on any level, you can't relate. You can't have any relationship with anybody. There's literally nothing there. There's like a big brick wall between the two of you. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
it's it ties in with love. It ties your personality ties in with what your soul is. I mean, so when you talked about the snake and can it change if it wanted to be a dog? Could it walk across the room? Well, I guess God could do miracles, but first off, the snake wants to be willing to do it. Then even if he is, God's got to find a purpose if he wants to have a walk. So these things are maladaptive. They don't change. Their disorder is hardwired, programmed in their mind. At the same time, they know right from wrong. When you stay stuck on that and give it those human qualities, I think it kind of reinforces the trauma bond.
No,
Because even though I
that's
want no
true.
contact,
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, honey.
No, no, go ahead.
No, what I was saying is when you give this human traits, like to me, even though I went no contact, I still had that trauma bond. It just reinforces it somehow. And when I started stopping and say, "Stop, Joe," like this is an alien from a totally different planet, literally like an alien that doesn't comprehend your language when you talk to them. They spit out word salad. That doesn't understand the emotions that you're sharing with them. If you're going to do any more digging, like dig into yourself, see what you can change in yourself, become a part of your own human race, because they are from some other something. Planet Narcissists, I don't know, but they're just a narcissist is a narcissist. It's their own species.
I agree. When it comes down to it, we want them to change. We need them to change. They have no desire to do that. It's only us, and it can't come that way. Like Joe, if you wanted me to change, maybe you could talk to me about it, and maybe you could influence me, or maybe you could even talk me into wanting to do it. But when it comes down to it, I have to want to do it. You can't
Yep.
make me do anything. And when it comes to a narcissist, but at least with us, I do have empathy. I do love you. So I would be interested to hear what you had to say. A narcissist isn't even on that level. I mean, it means nothing. You might as well tell them that you want their skin to turn blue. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't, there's no comprehension there. And it's like when you were saying, if you really meditate on what it means to have no empathy, I mean, this is where it comes from. There's literally nothing. Hoping that this person is going to change or understand or believing that they will is only going to leave you with so much agony. You're going to spend the rest of your life in misery hoping somebody else changes, when really the answer, what you need to do, is run like hell. Run for the
Yeah.
hills.
You know, I wish I would have known that. Like if I saw somebody come into a restaurant, they had a gun and like had it up in the air, like I would have got the hell out of there, man. Like I would have went through a window, I would have done something. Of course, I would have. If I had my kids with me, they would have been right. They would have been right ahead of me. That's how dangerous they are. Like I just wish that we could comprehend it in that way, and I could have accepted that a long time ago. Like they are that dangerous, life or death. How about all the voices that aren't on YouTube or on the internet or that we don't hear that have died as a result of abuse from a narcissist, whether it be physically, whether it be emotionally? I mean, people that have drank themselves to death. Single mothers now popping like sleeping pills every night because they can't sleep because they're full of anxiety and stress and fear. The hermit that never comes out of his house. The depressed person on pills for the rest of his life. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. I didn't mean that. Maybe abusing it. But you catch my drift. Like there's a hell of a lot more people that haven't made it than have, I believe.
Yeah, we had been speaking about that the other day because I had said to you, I said, "Oh, doesn't it seem like people who get out, who survive narcissism. And I'm saying this as if most people do. I'm saying it seems like you just thrive. You do so much better afterwards, because I'm speaking out about people that get out, but we only hear the voices of the people that get out. I'm sure you're right, Joe, that there are so many more people that don't get out, and we're the lucky ones. Really, we're so blessed. I know you probably don't feel like it all the time, but think about how it was with the narcissist. And if you're still with the narcissist, you're aware, you can start making different decisions. Because when we're in the middle of the worst of it, we're making decisions based on, like you're saying, like an alien. I mean, you can't function that way. There's no life for anybody that is in the middle of these relationships. I mean, can I even call them a relationship?
Yeah.
It's like you said, Joe, you're with a different species. And just like you wouldn't be in a relationship with your cat or your dog, you have to get away from this person. This thing is the only thing you can do to save your life. It's that drastic.
It's also not just that, Sharon, but like, me and you, it wasn't like cold turkey all of a sudden, like, okay, we're going no contact. It had to get to a point where it's like, all right, man, there's no relating to this thing at all. Like, when you can start to leave your emotions out of it, eventually it's like, they hurt me, they devastated me, you feel sorry for them. All of that is emotional thinking. It does not help the situation at all. If you come to terms with truly get it through that thick skull, the damn thing is an alien. Like, the abuse that you suffered, like, you're going to look back and be awestruck. People, if they're in the middle of it, when you look back, Sharon, you can't believe that you endured the silent treatment for 7 months and actually let it affect you. Like, in all the stuff that we allowed to happen, when you're in it, you don't see it.
Oh my
When
gosh.
you're out
Yeah.
of it, like, you're like, holy crap. Well, in the middle of it, even during the trauma bond after no contact, there's a lot of emotional thinking. You're making decisions based on fear and doubts, and nothing good is going to happen. But if you get it through that damn big skull, there's a reason why they say it's no contact. There's a reason why they call it trauma bond. Like, when you get it through, like, yeah, man, it's life or death. Like, these things aren't like normal. They're not abnormal. They're a whole different species, and they have bad intent. They're not like mammals. You got a damn lion going out and hunting, or the lioness going in the group. They're going to eat. They're not going to say, man, that rhinoceros gave me a dirty look, or, I'm jealous of the rhinoceros because it has a horn and I don't. I mean, these things have bad intentions too on top of it. So it's like not a reptile. It's not a damn mammal. It's a narcissist. And a narcissist is a different breed. There's different races we have. White, black, Chinese, yellow, brown, whatever. They're not even part of the race. It's just a narcissist is a narcissist. It's a different species. They have bad intent. They will annihilate you, not only you, but your family. I'm not proud to say here that I've been in a relationship with a narcissist, or quote unquote, maybe transactionship for 20 years. There's nothing to brag about that. We're just here to try to bring the bottom up for other people so they can have a better understanding. If it gets through to one person, even for a millisecond, wants to see this planet, it might help later on. Oh, yeah, okay. But keep your emotions out of it. They're damn literally a different species altogether that I was dealing with.
Yeah, Joe and I were each in a relationship with a narcissist for 20 years. I mean, it's 20 years. And even now, sometimes, I mean, Joe, we've talked about it. That's incredible, because when you're in the middle of it, it's just, you're not thinking straight. And when I used to watch YouTube videos back at the beginning, when I first found out about narcissism, what I really wanted to do was find a video that would tell me what to do so that the relationship would not end. I was afraid to have the relationship end. When I think about that now, it hurts me to think that I would do that to myself. Here I am, somebody's abusing me, and I'm trying to save the relationship. That screams trauma bond. That's what it was. I was afraid of life without my abuser. Now, life without my abuser, it is night and day. And that's, I mean, can you believe it, Joe? Can you believe how it was when you were with her compared to how life is now?
Oh, it's the difference between a cellmate that you have in jail and a soulmate, like you and myself. It's a night and day difference. It's so many nights, Sharon, I would be in pain and I couldn't sleep, and I would pray and talk to God, but like if it wasn't for YouTube and people sharing their experience and strength with me and having an understanding of what the disorder is, with like skipping all this from somebody that was abused, getting to the point where, you know what, man, they're just a different, they're an alien. Like they don't belong interacting with the human race at all.
Yeah, going back to Masada, she's not in her cage right now thinking about how she hurt me or how she scared Joe. I mean, that's not, she's a snake. This is what she did. She thought she was eating. She wasn't eating. We did what we had to do to get the snake off, and it's over. It's, it's really as cut and dry like that with a narcissist. If you're, I mean, I know it isn't, but it is. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, when you understand, okay, this is a narcissist, this is what they do, because it's hard not to take this stuff personally, but if you can understand it isn't personal, just like my dog acts a certain way, or my snake acts a certain way, or a bird outside acts a certain way, a narcissist is going to act a certain way. You just need to learn how to treat them the way you treat a narcissist. And the way you treat a narcissist is you run like your life depends on it.
Absolutely.
There's no changing them. And like Joe said, I get it. It took us each. Wait, how long did it take you, Joe? It took me 3 years to get out of the relationship. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, it was a slow process. It was learning what narcissism was, learning what my part was, like becoming emotionally detached. It all happened in God's time when I was ready to kind of when I was ready, talk about who's the now. There's one. I thought you were going to tell a story about Crusoe. I call him your malignant snake, and it's funny because you were talking about Masada, and I kind of felt bad when I put the rubbing off. I didn't mean to put that much. I was worried, but it's laughing. I was like, that would like my interaction with a narcissist and feeling bad for a narcissist would be like me putting Masada on my lap and petting it and telling her, hey, I'm so sorry for this. Let's watch TV together. And I'll give you a half a piece of pizza, like I would my little dog. You know what I mean? Not that it's good to give pizza to a dog, but you catch my drift.
Yeah.
But tell him about, I call him the malignant snake, Crusoe.
Yes. All right. So Joe is not a big fan of Crusoe. Crusoe is another Mexican black king snake I have. It's actually Masada's boyfriend. They had babies for me this year. So, but anyways, Crusoe is what I call cage aggressive. He's not tame. So if you open up his cage, he will bite you every time. So I know this, I know he's going to do this. He wasn't always like this. It really started when I first started breeding him. So I don't know if it's just he's been breeding and now he's aggressive. You open up the cage, he is going to come zooming out to bite you. So what I do, I know this ahead of time. So I use a snake hook, or I wear a sweatshirt and put my hands like up in the sleeves so that I can grab him that way. This is what we have to do with Crusoe. It's not the biggest deal because I do have a snake hook and I know what to do. I know how to treat him. I know how to handle him. And he hasn't bitten me in a long time because I know what to do. Similarly, with a narcissist, if you know ahead of time, like I know Crusoe is going to be aggressive. This is what he does. A narcissist is similarly going to be aggressive. They're going to attack you. They're going to hurt you. They're going to come at you full force every single time. If I opened up Crusoe's cage and he didn't do that, if he did, like actually recently, he was close to shedding. So when they're shedding, they're in blue. So their skin changes color. They have like this like milky fluid over them. He couldn't see very well. So I opened up his cage and he didn't charge out. That doesn't mean I can say to myself, oh, look, he's not aggressive anymore. He's such a nice snake now. He's so friendly. I think I'm going to have my kids pick him up. He's still the same snake. He just had a good day, say. That's like a narcissist. Sometimes they might be love bombing you, right? Or be having a good day, but they're still the narcissist inside every single time. So when go ahead.
I'm sorry, honey.
No, go ahead.
It doesn't matter. It's not that he has something against you. It ain't about you. Like if I went into Mr. Crusoe's cage and I was like, well, shit, he just doesn't like you. It ain't about you. I put my hand in there, I'm gonna get bit too.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with us.
Well, narcissists are like this with their kids as well. I mean, you know what I mean? If you're going to be like this with your kids, I mean, who aren't you going to be like this with? It just, And the kids have to learn too. That's the thing too. They destroy everything they come in contact with. That's why, like Joe, when you say it's life or death, I feel that. You know, at first when you would say that, I was like, what's he talking about? I don't think it's that bad. But it really is, because they're like a, I don't know, like a hurricane coming in and destroying everything in their path. There's nothing you can do but bunker down and, keep them out.
Yeah, it's an understatement. It's hard to find adjectives, even when we say him or her, or his or hers. It's giving them too many. It links them too much with human qualities and characteristics, and truly underneath it all, they are nothing like us except for their skin. They're like walking androids that are short circuited and have skin suits on. They're just, I don't know. But as soon as I was able to grasp that, I started using that as a tool. So when I would maybe feel bad, and this is after all the devastation and that karma's coming to get them, and I see it happening, and this is that's just, I'm Planet Narcissist. That's the way that the narcissists are designed. It comes back to them. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. Like, become part of the human race. Don't gotta be angry at them. It's just intermingle with your own species, Joe.
You know what? I agree. And I do. And I hope that this helps somebody, because it helped Joe and it helps me too. When you see the narcissist, not for who you want them to be, but really who they are, healing can really begin. And that's how you start your life over. Because the narcissist, just like Crusoe is going to be Crusoe, Masada is going to be Masada, my little dog Pock is going to be my little dog Pock, you're going to be a human, and the narcissist is going to be a narcissist from Planet Narcissism, wherever they're from.
And you know what? It helps too, because I catch myself sometimes like, it's not who they are. You see the narcissist for what they are.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, like, I started catching myself consciously saying her, I was saying it. Like, those things help me, like, neutralize that trauma bond where it became weak and weaker and weaker and weaker. And I was not looking at him like a human being. I was looking at him like just some alien from another planet. And those little things like that, a little word here, a different perspective, a shift in perspective, can mean a lot.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you so much, Joe, for joining us yet again. Can I count on you for coming back next week?
If you'll have me, Sharon, I love it. And thank you, because I know how much devotion and time you spent to this channel, and just to help somebody else out. And you're still in the midst of it. You're at the tail end, but it's not over till it's over. And the faith and the courage and just the unselfishness that you have. I mean, being able to, be a part of this and to contribute a little bit, to keep me accountable, to give back, it's definitely a privilege. Thank you so much for letting me on every Monday.
Well, I don't want to be too mushy, but you spend every Saturday night with me doing this, so I'm really grateful to you. So thank you. And thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope it helped. And I will be back on Wednesday, and I hope everybody has a wonderful week. So God bless. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.